Alright, here we go. So we got a Maiko Tsunami Umi Legendary Fisherman deck here. Basically, it's a Umi control deck with Legendary Fisherman. Like, I'm actually playing the deck in a way that I believe Konami kind of expected it to play. So, basically, what they were hoping when they made the deck was that people would play Legendary Fisherman. It's really Legendary Fisherman support, but people don't even put the Fisherman in the deck. And so the point of why I'm saying that is because a lot of people don't even know about the Mega Fortress Well other effect. So there's two main effects that people use this for, which is being able to attack directly and then being able to pop one of your opponent's monsters on their turn during the battle phase. Well, there's a third effect to this card that when this card is destroyed, you can actually add a water warrior monster or special summon a water warrior monster from your deck or graveyard. So that's the third effect to this card. Most people don't even know that because they just kind of watch YouTube videos and make the deck that they tell them about, and then they just play it that way and they never really even read the cards. But just wanted to explain that so then that way you guys know. So then that way you could see how I kind of make mines play out. So and originally, I was playing Legendary Fisherman, and when these cards came out, I look at it as Legendary Fisherman support and not necessarily a new deck that I'm playing. This is, to me, support for Legendary Fisherman. So, I'm playing against Branded Despia, and he basically opens Al- Albert, which is his best card, and goes into Lubellion. Lubellion is going to allow him to be able to bring out Mirror Jade, is what he should do. But if he might not be that smart. I mean, he's kind of bird brain a little bit because of the way that he made his deck, but I'll show you guys his deck in a minute. So he goes into Albion. So Albion can bring out Masquerade. So he decides not to go with um, um, Mirror Jade. Now Mirror Jade is what he should have gone with. Mirror Jade, if he went into Mirror Jade, he probably would have won this match. For the simple fact that Mirror Jade can't touch these cards. It can't do anything to him. Um, this card is better for burning life points, but the fact that I'm going to be summoning something with Sea Stealth and him being able to keep Mirror Jade on the field and basically banish whatever I summon, so then that way that card is never coming back and he'd still have his monster on the field, he'd be able to attack me directly. But instead, this is what he does. So I saw him search Mercurier earlier off of his Branded Lost when he's fusion summoned. So I know he has Mercurier, so I'm going to force him to use it. Mercurier doesn't pop a card when it negates it. It just negates it. So it doesn't actually destroy the card. It just negates it. So don't go in my comment section and say, if you knew it was in his hand, why did you do it? Because it doesn't destroy it. That's why. I've been hit with Mercurier. Trust me, I've played this deck a million times. Everybody plays this fucking deck. So I, I don't even play this deck. I don't even have this deck built yet. But I know exactly how this deck functions. Like I could pretty much just pilot this deck without even thinking about it because I've played it so many times. Like everybody's running this shitty ass deck. But whatever. So I'll go ahead and because my card was destroyed. Now you might say, okay, well it was destroyed anyways. How was it destroyed? Well, in the end phase, so this card summons a water warrior, a water monster that mentions Umi or a water normal monster. And then when the battle phase ends, it's destroyed. So I know that, of course, it's my deck. And I know that this card, when it's destroyed, is going to bring out a water warrior monster. So I bring out General Reho of the Ice Barrier. So since he brought out Masquerade, I bring out General Reho. Now, these cards have kind of similar effects. So, what Masquerade does is burns me for 600 damage. I'm pretty sure you guys all know this. If you've been watching any Yu-Gi-Oh videos, you've seen this shitty ass deck played a million times just like I have. If you've even tried to play, this deck is played a million times. Everybody that is top tier runs this fucking deck and they think it's the best deck, but I've shitted on nothing but this deck. Like, it's almost laughable that I bricked super hard and I'm still gonna clap this guy. Like, it's funny. But anyways, so Mercarier basically burns me whenever I try to activate effects. This card makes it to where he has to discard something out of his hand to resolve his effects on the field of his monsters. So watch this. So he activates the perfect card right there to basically buy himself more time. It really doesn't buy him more time, but if it kind of does, it kind of does. Um, so he imperms. So now I can't use either of these two, but I'll give him 1,200 life points for just for doing it by activating both of these, even though they're both negated. Trust me, I knew they were negated. You don't hit my electric jellyfish and me not know that they're negated. I promise you I did. So you don't got to go in my comment section and say, why did you use electric jellyfish and sea stealth 2? I knew both of these were negated. I knew it was on the row. I know how this shit plays. I burned myself for 1,200 to show him that I don't give a fuck that you negated these. That is like my way of trolling, basically. So on my turn right here, if he doesn't have a way to stop Sea Stealth attack, which he hadn't had all game, I see him draw into Dramaturge, and I know he has Brand Diffusion. I have Electric Jellyfish, so all I have to do is wait for him to activate Brand Diffusion and then negate that shit. So he does. I go ahead and negate it. And then he's going to enter his battle phase like a dumbass. Um, Here's the funniest thing. You're entering the battle phase. You still haven't dealt with the card that fucked you over in the first place. At this point, you should be assuming that I'm smarter than you thought I was and that I have a better plan than you thought I had. Um, the first time you tried to just absolutely cook me, leave me with 1,200 life points, that didn't work out for you. So now you're going to try it all over again. This time you're going to try to attack into these monsters. Even though I placed them in attack mode and left them in attack mode, you're still going to assume that you can just beat over them. So I summon out Karyushin, and this card basically is going to wipe his entire field, because when this card hits the field, he has to remove everything except for one non-water monster off his field. It's a lingering effect, so he can't chain anything to it. And then his dumbass is still trying to overpower me with brute force by just attacking over this card. My guy, let's just assume this is an ice barrier. Let's assume this is sea stealth attack, right? If this is sea stealth attack and you're assuming that you're playing against an Umi deck, if I'm laying down a face down card, more than likely it means it's a trap card. And if I didn't use it to negate something, then more than likely it's either sea stealth attack or ice barrier. So if you're just dumbass attacking into me, then you should be assuming that you're about to get ice barriered or you're about to get sea stealth attack. So if you're gonna attack anyways, you should be attacking into electric jellyfish. This is what negates everything. For one, if you attack into this, you get no damage. I award you no points because you're not gonna get any damage. This card's gonna get destroyed anyways by Sea Stealth 2, which is another part of why this guy's so fucking bird brain. This card was going to get destroyed anyways. So I award you no damage. And if this was Sea Stealth 2, I'd flip this card and his card would get destroyed anyway. So let's see what happens. So flip over Ice Barrier. Basically no more burn damage. He can't burn me for any more damage. I also get a Kaiju. He takes 1,900 damage. He knows I have a Kaiju in my hand. He plays Branded in red. I saw him set it just now. And then I'm just going to Kaiju that monster. Now, I could have just attacked into it. It was permanently negated. No more effects from it. And also, the attack was permanently at 0. So, I could have had an easier time OTKing him. Honestly, just left it on the field and just attack with these monsters to basically kill him. But I didn't want to do that. And then, on top of that, I have Electric Jellyfish. It's an Omni Negate every single turn. That Omni Negate basically will negate this Brandon in red. He still won't be able to do shit, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to Kaiju him just to show him, like, fuck you. I'm going to play you how I want to play you, and then I'm going to beat over your best monster with a fucking normal monster. I should have actually beat over his Masquerade with this normal ass monster right here. and made him take all that damage. But fuck him, whatever. I want to kaiju him just to show him like, hey, I can give you something with more attack and still beat you. Summon out Legendary Fisherman, the OG. Probably should have attacked with Legendary Fisherman last, just for the memes, just to say that he was beat by Legendary Fisherman. But instead, I just go ahead and attack for game. His overconfidence made him lose the duel, and this is pretty much just my first match since the new patch, or since the like release of the ban list or whatever, since they updated the game or whatever. But let's take a look at his deck list real quick. Let's take a look at my opponent's deck list. So he's pretty much playing this shitty ass branded Despia, and do not make this deck like this. Go look up like a branded Despia deck list, like on Master Duel Meta or something, because he fucked this up. If I'm being honest with you, he fucked this list up. I'm not saying that it's like absolutely terrible, but he fucked it up, and I can tell it's his own custom build. Like he's not like basically just taking Master Duel meta and just making a deck. The way I know that is because he's running 3 Fallen of Albaz. He's also running 3 Mirror Jades. He's running 1 Masquerade, and then he's only running 2 Albions, and then he's running 1 Guardian Chimera now, and then he's running Draco Berserker the Tini for some reason. That tells me all along that he's not like looking at some other deck list. This is his own thought up deck list that he put together. He probably used the inspiration of some other decks to make it. I'm pretty sure that's what most people do anyways. But no back row removal whatsoever. A single Harpy's Feather Duster could be better than nothing whatsoever, but whatever. I mean, this is the only thing that can remove spell and trap cards. So this was the only thing you would have had to actually try to stop me from making plays with the back row that I was using. So let's take a look at my deck. So basically it's just a Umi control deck. The only difference to my deck than the other Umi control decks is I'm running Legendary Fisherman 1, I'm running Legendary Fisherman 3, Legendary Fisherman 2, and then General Raiho. There's another card that you could put in here if you wanted to take something else out. Like let's say you want to take out a Warrior of Atlantis. You could also run something like this card here, General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. This card basically makes it to where when your opponents start using their spell and traps, they can't recur them. So there's no like invoked recursion that kind of happens, or there's no like cards hidden in the graveyard that are spell and traps and then recurring those cards like people do with the Despia deck, the branded Despia. This card basically just banishes those cards. Once they hit the graveyard, they'll get banished instead. And then if this card is in your hand and you have another Ice Barrier card, so when you do summon out, like if you hard draw that card, or if you just open with that card, when you summon out General Raiho, this card can actually summon from the hand. So now you got 2 monsters that'll hit the field once this card leaves the field, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of shit that can actually happen with these 2 cards. I just don't run it because I don't feel like I need it. Like the effect isn't so good. Like I don't worry about spell and trap recursion. And then this card does have another really good effect though. This card can actually search. This card can actually search for your Ice Barrier. So it can actually search this card, which I don't necessarily care to always have this card in my hand because sometimes I like to just send it directly to the graveyard. Sending it to the graveyard and then banishing it sometimes can just grab me the card that I need, but that's a good way to actually search out an Ice Barrier. So keep that in mind. Then for my extra deck, just a couple cards, some cards to make Zeus basically, with Toad, go into Toad, and then Downert, and then Zeus. Use Bahamut Shark if I wanted to. You know, if my opponents, if they're not putting up anything that I need to negate, I can basically go into Toad. But yeah, so this is pretty much my deck.